Welcome to the new episode where we are going to discuss how to listen. A good listener is nearly as attractive as a good talker. You cannot have a beautiful mind if you do not know how to listen. A good listener shows that he or she is paying attention to what is being said. A good listener respects the speaker. A good listener shows that he or she is genuinely interested in what he or she hears. A good listener gets value from what is heard and shows that he or she is getting value. All of the above are to do with real attitudes and not just pretended attitudes. Unless you're going to be talking all the time, you're going to have to listen. So do it well and get the most out of listening. Impatience. There are few things uglier than a listener who does not want to listen and is only waiting for the moment that he or she can speak. This impatience is usually very visible and is offensive to the speaker. If you do not want to listen to anyone else, why should anyone else want to listen to you? You may feel that what you have to say is more important than what others have to say, but that is probably not a view shared by the others. So listen carefully and attentively, and you should get more value than if you're just impatiently waiting for a chance to do your own talking. Getting value. If you listen carefully and attentively, you will get more value from listening than from talking. Talking can show how smart you are. Talking can convince others of your views. Talking can help you clarify your own thinking. But talking only rarely gives you something new. Listening, on the other hand, can give you new ideas if you try to receive them. There may be information that you did not know. You could, for example, find out why some countries drive on the right side of the road and others on the left side of the road. There may be new facts. For example, statistics might be given. You may want to check these with a question before accepting them. Did you know that 95% of US criminal cases are settled by plea bargaining? Did you know that in many countries, more people are killed in road accidents through the driver falling asleep than through alcohol? There may be a point of view you have not heard before. Smokers pay their pension contributions in the same way as everyone else. But smokers often live shorter lives, up to 8 years shorter, depending on the extent of the smoking. So smokers often do not draw down the full pension to which they have contributed. So smokers are subsiding non-smokers, which is very altruistic of them. There may be new insights and realizations. In the USA, there are 27 times as many lawyers per head of the population as in Japan. Law is one of the most popular faculties at universities. In Japan, the total number of lawyers allowed to practice is itself limited by law. Why so many lawyers in the USA? Law is seen as the general purpose qualification that both serves as a backup and also allows you to do other things. It may also be that intelligent youngsters who want a mentally challenging profession but do not like mathematics go in for law. Law is one of the very few professions that do not demand a high expertise in mathematics as a gateway requirement. You may gain new alternative perceptions. You might always have looked at something in one way, and through listening you find that there is other way of looking at the same thing. Perhaps you perceive retirement as a time for resting. The new perception is that, on the contrary, it is the time for even more activity. We're doing things you have always wanted to do and not been able to do. You may have perceived some person's rudeness as aggression and then come to see it as a cover for insecurity. You may find value in seeing how a point of view, totally different from your own, is put together rationally. You could listen to someone who genuinely believes that prolonging life at all costs is not a good use of resources. It is said that in the USA, some 75% of healthcare costs are spent in the last month of life. You might listen to pro-choice and pro-life views with regard to abortion. You may find value in discovering what values matter to different people. What are these values? How do they operate these values? Contrast someone sifting through the mud to find some diamonds and someone walking along the beach looking at the driftwood. The diamond seeker has to go through a lot of mud to find a single diamond. But the person knows what a diamond looks like and knows the market value or sale value of the diamond, which is equivalent to looking for things of known value. However, the person walking along the beach, looking at the driftwood, is not looking for something of known value. This person finds value in the unusual shape of the driftwood, which might make a good lamp or a walking stick. So value may be defined and recognizable, or it may be what you bring to something that creates the value. Perhaps something already in your mind can be put together with something you hear in order to create a new value. Notice. Take note of the word being used. Take note especially of the adjectives. Adjectives are almost always subjective. Adjectives tell you what the person feels rather than objective reality. This was a very boring journey. In fact, the scenery was beautiful, but the person had seen it all before. The restaurant was very exotic. In fact, the restaurant was over-gaudy and rather vulgar to someone else's eyes. He is arrogant and aloof. In fact, the person is shy and reserved. Pay attention to the turn of phrase and the analogies that are used. Some of them might be useful to you to use yourself in the future. Repeat back. This is a very useful part of listening. You repeat back to the speaker what you think that the person has been saying. Such repetition indicates that you have understood what was said. It also clarifies the situation in your own mind. For example, I think I heard you say that recession is good for business in the long term because inefficient businesses are killed, which leaves more market for the efficient businesses when the recession ends. Is that correct? Are you saying that the USA may be the only industrialized country that really respects and admires success? Are you saying that in other countries, such as Britain, there is an automatic envy of success and attempts to bring it down? Did I understand you to say that women make better doctors than men because women are more intuitive and therefore likely to take many more factors into account? Is it your point that increasing the punishment for crime is not really a deterrent if criminals feel that their chance of being caught is actually very small? Are you saying that Korean immigrant groups do well because they have powerful structure of self-help groups through which they help each other? To summarize, condense, recapitulate, and feedback what has been understood is flattering to the speaker, who wants to know if his or her message has been received. Questions. Questions are very much part of listening. They show attention and interest. They allow for the further exploration of certain points. They permit the clarification of any misunderstanding. They enable the speaker to elaborate on points which seem to be of interest of the listener. They can be used to check up on things. For instance, are those official figures or a ballpark guess? Did Mr. Horsley actually say that in your presence? Did you see that with your own eyes, or are you passing on what someone told you? Is that a scientific fact? Do figures actually support the point you make about smokers? Does that apply across all age groups or only youngsters? How many more accidents do these people have? If the difference is only a few percent, it may be statistically significant but not have much practical value, like charging more for insurance. If a speaker says, for example, in New Zealand, it has been found that children from a severely dysfunctional family have an increased chance of becoming criminals. This may not be surprising. If you then ask what is the extent of the increased chance, well, you may well be surprised. Such children seem to have 100% times the likelihood of becoming criminals. That is a huge figure. More details. You may ask for more details around a point. You may ask for more details around a point which particularly interests you. For instance, could you tell me more about these Korean self-help groups? How do they function? This shows interest and attention and allows you to get far more value from your listening. The speaker may be trying to make a point and has no way of knowing which part of his or her discourse is of more interest to his audience. It is up to the listeners to ask questions to get more details around the more interesting points. To take another example, China may be the only country in the world in which the suicide rate for women now exceeds the suicide rate for men. Questions might be: is this a recent trend? Is it related to the one child per family policy? Is it across all age groups? Is the figure the same for single and married women? 2 focuses. As you listen, there are always at least 2 focuses. The person speaking may be trying to make a point, to express an opinion, or to create one side of an argument. You may need to pay attention to this. What is the speaker trying to achieve? How well is the speaker achieving this? Do you agree with the speaker's main point? Is the speaker convincing? Respect for the speaker means that you are listening to what the speaker is trying to do. At the same time, there is a second focus. Let us say you are driving along the road and you want to get to town B. As you drive along, you pass through a quaint village or you drive by a historic site. You stop to explore what has caught your interest. So as you listen, the second focus is concerned with matters of interest that arise in what you hear, but have little relevance to the case the speaker is trying to make. When you hear a reference to Korean self-help groups, you want to know more about them because such social structures interest you. If you hear that Prophet Muhammad, in the Hadith, his own sayings, has several references to thinking, you may want to know what these references are. The trick is to keep both focuses in mind if you are to get full value from listening. Suppose you only focus on the main argument being made. At the end, you find you do not agree with the argument. If you only focused on the argument, you have gained very little. However, if you have also focused on the interest content of what has been said, you may have learned important new information, alternative perceptions, and different experiences. Now let's summarize how to listen. The ability to listen and the enjoyment of listening is a key part in developing a beautiful mind. A good listener pays attention and seeks to get the maximum value from what is being said. There are 2 focuses for attention: the point the speaker is trying to make and the separate value of what is being said in its own right. Listening is not just having to wait impatiently until you can yourself speak. You may get new information and you can probe for further information with questions. You may get a new point of view which had not occurred to you before. There may be new insights and realizations that are triggered by the speaker. You might realize there are alternative perceptions that are new to you. You may learn the reasoning behind a point of view quite different from your own. You could learn how people apply values which differ from your own. You should take note of the words used and especially the adjectives which indicate feelings. You should make a habit of repeating back to the speaker what you think you have understood. This is both useful and important. You should use your questions to check on facts and to ask. You should use questions to check on facts and to ask for more details around points of interest. I'm sure by now you have understood how to listen. In the next episode, we are going to delve more into questions